Okay, now I'm recording. Bob Rakowski, Houston, Texas. Danien Feier, that's how he pronounces his last name. He's with the company Jeunesse. When he joined, the company's biggest package was $5,000, but he started with $100 worth of products. That's all that he could afford. You know, they had a shampoo that was supposed to be pretty good, but it sold for $34 a bottle. And he just couldn't see people paying that because his family paid $2 a bottle for shampoo. So a little bit of the behind the scenes work. I always like to look up the companies. There's his wife, by the way, who is also a world-class network marketer. But when you look at what they're selling a month supply of vitamins, right? 30 packets per box. So they get 30 vitamin packs for $139.95. And you know, I promise you, most people out there are not taking $140 worth a month of products. But if you agree to auto ship, they're going to go and they're going to do $113.95. So I could see where price would be an issue. And that's where I always like to point out where we have an advantage. We have a greater, far more superior product at less than half the price of our major competitors. Additionally, we're more convenient, you know, and we've got the Ganoderma health advantage. So, you know, we win on all fronts in those choices. So Danien didn't know how to do network marketing. So he had 1,000 flyers printed and he stuffed them in mailboxes selling protein bars. Protein bars because those were the cheapest thing. They were, I think, $2 a piece. Well, interestingly enough, of those 1,000 flyers, he got 6 customers. Well, then he got another 1,000 flyers and got some more customers. And then ultimately he learned that that wasn't the way to do it. But that's how he got his start. And by the way, now he's earning about $5 million a year. And again, I will say it again, you know, I always like to give everybody a shout out for their success, but we absolutely have the best thing going. So Danien made a point to tell us that, look, with technology, now we all have global reach. First, he was just walking around neighborhoods, knocking on doors, stuffing mailboxes, stuff like that. And then whoever he could meet locally. Now we can get a global audience and even multiple times a day if we want. So his topic for training was radical duplication. And he says there's 3 components to radical duplication. Number 1 is clarity. Number 2 is enthusiasm. And then intensity is a factor also in how successful you will be. You know, this falls right in line with Tom Morris's 7 C's of success. His number 1 is clarity. He always says you cannot hit a target that you cannot see. By the way, you also have to have confidence, at least confidence that you can improve. Then people succeed with consistent, committed concentration. I'm a big fan of setting aside however much time you're going to set aside during the day for your organo business, maybe an hour first thing in the morning. And then we can teach you what to do with that hour to grow and succeed. Then you got to have character and contentment, enjoy every step of the journey. So again, you can't hit a target you can't see, so clarity is there. And you might as well see yourself as you really are, and that is much more than you're being now. So one of the facts that he says with clarity that makes it easy is if we keep it super simple. I changed the way that was spelled out there because, you know, they use the word stupid, and I don't like to put that in any sentence really or description, but let's keep it super simple so that people can do it. Now, Fraser Brooks has made social media, I believe, easy. This is his program. First, you're going to collect friends. How long is that going to take? You know, it depends on your connection with the person. When you start liking people's stuff, when you start commenting on it, when you start sharing it, when you start adding value to their world, you'll often start a conversation. By the way, everybody there at the mastermind suggested a video conversation. We all have video capacity now. Get them on a video conversation. And by the way, be looking good. So if you remember Stormy Wellington's favorite quote, it's hard to sell the dream looking like a nightmare. So when you get on a video conference with a prospect, you know, be fresh, be clean, be ready. You know, I've put on a shirt for this Zoom well, not that I wasn't wearing a shirt, but a collared shirt. And then, you don't know that I'm actually wearing, my workout pants, but that's all right. You're not going to see those. But look good, make a connection. And how do you make a connection? Tell me more about you. Jesse Lee Ward likes to ask the question, what's it like being Fraser? Now Fraser's going to say, man, it's beyond awesome, but a lot of people will say it's challenging. And then you just basically use key questions like, tell me more. I had no idea. Wow, you look like you're handling it well. Right? You connect with that person. And then, by the way, ultimately, when you're a friend, you remember what they said. Hey, if I could show you a way where you could get your kids in private school, would that be worth 20 minutes of your time to review an opportunity? Just that simple. Once you have a friend, then you collect the decision. And by the way, they're all very clear. Don't spam on your Facebook page. That's the best way to get unfriended. And after you collect decisions, then you get commissions. And he says you want to turn strangers into friends. We talked about that process, turn friends into family, especially our OG family. Then he talks about his 7 steps. And we somewhat, went through that as I talked through that conversation. So I gave this assignment to Usman yesterday. After I read a book, I was there and John Harimza was in Las Vegas. And if you remember John, he went from a dyslexic welder, very, very shy, wouldn't even have eye contact because his self-esteem was so low, to having a lifetime earnings of over 27 million in network marketing. And John said, here's how I did it. It had to be super simple. So I admired Usman. He asked a question last week on Ask the Doctor. I see him on the calls and on the videos. And I said, you know what? I want to give you an assignment. Let's see how it goes. And, once you have connection with people, send them this message. I have an assignment to share a 90-second video and get answers to 2 questions with 10 people today. If I send you the video link, would you watch it and answer these 2 questions? And here's the question. What did you like most about the video? It was engaging, energetic. I did not like it. I loved everything. Did the video make you want to try the product? Yes. Well, guess what? He got 6 yeses for people to try this CXT product. Now, I don't know if we ever asked him, when's the last time you got 6 people to try your product in a given day? That's a great day on anybody's scale. And he did it with this. So I'm going to encourage you to do the same. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll put this in our chat. And I think it all showed up there. Okay, so I am definitely committed to keeping things simple. And by the way, when you have someone on your team that's frustrated or challenged in any way, this was the way Jeff Roberti, the guy that earned over $100 million in network marketing, did it. When people would come to him with a problem or a complaint, Jeff would say, you know what, I get that. The same thing happened to me. The way I got past it was to talk to more people. That was always his answer. So it was always building the business. Well, guess what? If you're having a problem with back orders, you still want to talk to more people, talk to the right people. So we had plenty of us talking to corporate and having them fill the pipeline in a way where that should always be a thing of the past. And I put that one in there. Always do your best, always get better, always have fun, because basically your energy is contagious. People that are having fun, people want to have that fun. I'm gonna get back to that for a second because I do like that. Always do your best. Just imagine if you spend every day where you always did your best, guess what? You can't do more than that. And here's what Art Williams, the billionaire, says: your best is good enough. It always will be. Always work to get better, right? You never want to stay stagnant. You're either growing or you're dying. That's as a human or as a business. And always have fun. And that certainly makes sure that you keep coming back for more. And T. Harv Eckert said this: energy is contagious. You either affect people in a very positive way, or you infect them in a way that makes them sick. So let's be very, very positive about that. The term enthusiasm literally means God within, And we have that level of power within us. We all do. So David and Goliath, great story. He was very enthusiastic. Everybody said he's so big, and the Israelites' position was, look how big he is, we can't win. Whereas David said, he's so big, I can't miss. And guess what? He had a successful reign there. And Ralph Waldo Emerson said this: nothing great is ever achieved without enthusiasm. So be enthusiastic as you share. Get good at being enthusiastic. And enthusiasm is the hope that makes the yeast that makes your hopes rise to the stars. Henry Ford, Vince Lombardi, big, great leaders on enthusiasm. If you aren't fired with enthusiasm, you will be fired with enthusiasm. So now we're going to get to intensity. And I think intensity works in everything. So when you look at CrossFit interval training versus yoga, what they found was that CrossFit, that intense training, that you competing against people in the class, that had the greatest gains and changes in body composition and fitness level. And so does that work with your network marketing business? Yeah, if you do more intensity in what you're doing, get more done in a shorter period of time. Eric Worre says, the pros, they can get 5, 6, 7 exposures in a few different days and move them along that process. The longer it takes for between exposures, the less the likelihood that this person is going to join your business. But I'm also a fan of consistency, as is Bruce Lee. He said consistency trumps intensity. And it's going to take energy to grow. Think about what it took this plant to burst through the asphalt, but its will to live was that strong. And Churchill, discipline your disappointments, is what Danien said. Success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. So they talked about that which you can't explain away, promote. Diane did a great job of this with King of Coffee in Canada. Look, our product is in such high demand. People put in such huge orders all around the world that it's created a 60-day back order cycle. And it did. And, reality is we have one of the hottest products in the world, and the King of Coffee sales are way, way, way up. Who knows? Maybe people caught the excitement. They said, if it's that good, I want to try it. And they did. And now they make sure that they get it every single month. So I want to go back to Danien's big three in that you needed to have clarity. You need to know what you're going to do every single day and how it's going to grow your business. The gateway skill is inviting. The master skill is promoting. Well, a video can be a great way to invite. That CXT video is great, but we can do it with the Black is Back video. We can do that with the latte video and have the same questions. What did you like most about the video? Energy, engagement. I liked nothing. I liked everything. Easy answers. Did it make you want to try the product? And once you send that out a handful of times, I think you're going to get similar success. You're going to get a lot of people trying the product. Enthusiasm always works. You'll notice whenever someone's up on the organo stage, even if they are nervous, their excitement is very, very obvious. And some of you might say, well, if I was up stage, giving a diamond acceptance speech or some kind of award, I'd be excited too and enthusiastic. But the enthusiasm preceded the success. So whatever gets you pumped up, Tony Robbins likes you to, kind of jump around and get your physiology moving, have an expansive power posture, even a mantra. And I chuckle at Jose Ardone. He's a guy with a 4th grade education that earned at 1.5 million a year in organo. And he would always pump himself up. He'd say, you can do this, Jose, you can do this. And he would do it. And then there's the intensity. When our business has grown the most has been when we have been actively promoting a promotion. So we have the most powerful woman promotion going on right now. And I'm going to stop the share and get the gallery view. And we have the Eric Worre thing. So how many of you already have your Eric Worre ticket for December? Okay, a handful of you, that's good. Now, how many of you have tickets for the amount of people that you want to bring? You want to bring 2 people? I would aim a little higher.
Sorry, I meant to say I did. I bought 6.
Okay, good. Good. And Eric Worre would say, you need to aim a little higher. That's what Eric Worre would say. And that's what he did with all of us in that room. He says, okay, you need to set your sights a little higher. And by the way, the final conversation we had with Eric, among the masterminders, he's creating an elite investment group, bringing in the best people in the world. And he says in the next decade, we can all take our net worth to $100 million. Those are the words he used, right? Diane was watching it on Zoom because she wasn't able to leave the country, but that's exactly what he said. Do you think his sights are high? Now, do you think we'll all be upset if we're only worth 25 million in the next decade? We'll probably get over it. We'll probably get over it, but that's what he's putting on the table. A net worth of $100 million for everybody in that room. You might ask, how do I get in that room? Well, you got to become a 6-figure earner, and then you got to buy your way in. And he keeps raising the price because they keep wanting to get in. We got 150 people. I think the people that were in that room this weekend were averaging $1 million a year. That was the average in the room. So these are people that know how to network. And when they train, we probably want to listen to them. Danien, $5 million a year, if he says you need to know what you're doing by using a simple system, hey, could you send that text? But what's the magic? Make the connection before, get the friendship before. So I told the story about my first GoPro. I heard about it. I heard it was good. I read Eric Worre's book and I thought, I'll go all out. I'll buy 5 tickets. Well, I took my 5 people there. And then Eric Worre said, by the way, next year, our keynote speakers are going to be Tony Robbins and Sir Richard Branson. And, it would cost you a fortune to see them in person. But, if you buy 1 ticket, it's $700. If you buy 5 tickets, it's $650. If you buy 10 tickets, it's $600. If you buy 50 tickets, you're down to $500 a ticket. And if you buy 100 tickets, it's down to $400. And then he said, who's buying 100 tickets? Who will commit right now to 100 tickets? So guess what? I went down on stage and I had my picture taken with Eric Worre, and a bunch of us did. I bought those 100 tickets. But guess what? I didn't sell them all. I sold 78 of them. So that means my ticket was $11,000. But do you think that event was worth $11,000 to me? Diane Solano was at that event, and she'll tell you that's what launched her. And she got on a growth curve ever since then. And part of what we would do is we would meet in the back of the room, and I would say, okay, you see that guy Danien on stage? He's making $5 million a year. He's got shampoo at $34 a bottle. He's got a vitamin pack that's $140 a month. How many customers do you think you're going to get like that? Our coffee is delicious. It's more convenient. It's less than half the price of Starbucks. We have 4,000 years of success, and probably anything that ails you can get better with this. And there's a study about it. Is our product easy to sell? It is if we get out of the way. So, Diane, I see you turned your camera on. Do you have some wisdom to add?
Thank you, Dr. Bob, for doing these recaps. Honestly, it's a $10,000 ticket to be part of the Accelerator program, and to get a condensed version, but a version of it every Monday night is highly valuable. These are top earners around the world. So thank you so much for doing this every week. I mean, you literally put the slides together. So I really want to give you a big shout out for that. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you really being very clear that I had to get to GoPro. And I spent a year trying to figure out how to grow the business. I didn't realize I had MLM shame, but I did. And I didn't know how to talk about the business. So I kept leading with product, and that's good to start. But at some point, if you really want to take off, I keep stressing how important it is to get comfortable around 3 sentences that you're good with about talking around the business and piquing curiosity. And I love what Danien said today, where he said, you know, your emotions can either hurt you or they can serve you. Because at the end of the day, a true leader stays positive even when there's adversity, right? That's when you make a decision that no matter what, you're going to make this happen. And I think that's where you hear leaders say, make a decision that you're going to do this or you're not. Because sitting on the fence is so painful. I've seen so many people sit on the fence for years, and it's just like, it's all up here. It's all mindset. And what I often look at, sometimes I see people moving on to different companies. I mean, if you can't share $1 a cup of coffee that the world wants, that sells itself, that I feel grateful for it sold itself because it bought me time to get better. Like, I literally had people that wanted genuinely the product, and that really helped. But imagine, you know, the $400 whatever water filters, like that is a lot harder. So, you know, I think
those are $9,000 water filters now.
Yeah, like those are high ticket items. So this is where I really think it's important to stress it's worth it. It is worth the pain right now of getting better and letting go of the fear of judgment, because that's what we're afraid of. There's nothing else. You're not going to get a gun to your head. You're not going to go bankrupt trying this. Like, you're just afraid of judgment. Let's just call it tight. So what do you need to do to close that gap? Because it is worth stretching to get out of the beginner phase. The beginner phase, this phase where everyone is at right now, this phase is the determination of the future, what it's going to look like. And if you can't get out of this phase, it's never going to happen by magic. So I really encourage people, just get really uncomfortable, but do it, because if you focus on the activity of inviting and following up, that's it. And the minute someone joins your team, you help them do the same. It's very simple. And I love what Danien said today. It doesn't matter how you do it. You want to do it on a 3-way call. You want to do it in a Zoom presentation. You want to do it in a living room. You want to do it on social media. You choose. But the bottom line, the KPI, the key point indicator of your business is, can you invite and follow up? That's it. Once that happens, you start to gain momentum. So I just kind of want to bring it back to the basics, since he did stress the importance of clarity. Figure out how you want to do. You can do all the above. But the bottom line is, until that specific activity happens, it's all going to be in your head. And it's okay to start with product, sure, as you get comfortable. But at some point, you got to make that transition. It happened for me at GoPro because I had to see other people outside of Organo doing it. When I circled back and I said, you know what? This has to get done. I know no other vehicle that will get me out of debt, that will pay my credit cards off, that will do that for me, because I had no capital. Right now, guys, you need capital to invest. You want to buy Bitcoin, you need capital. You want to real estate, you need capital. You want stocks, you need capital. Like, you need capital for every single venture. And there's risk associated with those ventures. That's why I fell in love with this, because it was no risk and no capital. None. With a guaranteed outcome, if I'm willing to get uncomfortable. I said, sign me up. Let me figure it out. I don't know, I'll stumble along the way, but I will build the plane and fly at the same time. I never know the processes. It's never perfect, but I don't take my eye off the activity that moves the needle forward. That's it. So back to you, Dr. Bob. Thank you.
Well, you know, you said it, and it's worth repeating again and again and again. Everything, all growth occurs outside your comfort zone, period, end of story. Now, how much do you want to grow? And so you start with the step that you can see. So I read John Harimza's book cover to cover. By the way, the title of it is Right or Almost Right. And I was trying to figure out what it meant. So it was interesting. I talked to him over at Eric's. We were, you know, just standing out on the deck together, and I really loved his story so much. So I talked to him for a long time. He ended up then driving me back that night, so we had a little more time to chat. But I wasn't quite sure what this book was going to be about, right or almost right. So what do you think is the theme of that, comparing right or almost right? Anybody
You're
want to
asking
guess?
me? Oh,
No, it's open to the whole group.
Do or do not, doesn't matter. Just get it over, get it done.
No, I didn't get it right either, by the way. Here's what I thought. Right or almost right. And I think you and I are thinking along the same lines. Well, almost right is a start. So, okay, that's where you are, almost right, but keep working to get better, you know? But it doesn't matter where you are, right or almost right. That was not the theme. There's a right way and there's an almost right way. The right way guarantees mega results. The almost right guarantees you will flounder until you learn to get it right. And he said, I'm going to get it right. And he said, I need baby steps. He says, I can't read, I can't write, I don't know how to smile. I've had almost no conversations in my life because all people did was make fun of me. You know, they made him read out loud in school, even though he was dyslexic. So he'd try to get ahead in the story and do his best to memorize the paragraph, because if he had 20 minutes on 2 sentences, he'd have a shot at getting it. And he says he guessed wrong so often, but when they'd call him, he would just tell them what they memorized, you know, and they'd say, John, you're not reading. I did read it. No, your sentence is 2 after that. Can you read that? You know, and he couldn't. And then they'd laugh at him and they'd jeer at him and they'd poke at him. You know, I mean, how horrible. But who's laughing now? You know, he's made $27 million. But here's what he was willing to do. Here's what he said. Are you kidding me? Everybody told me I couldn't succeed my entire life. If you can get a job earning $9 an hour, it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. And he said, they told me I could get rich. Did they lie? No. 27 million is a good number. He's got the big, beautiful house on the lake in Las Vegas. He's got the nice toys. He's got the family security, and he's got the skills to earn 3, 4, 5 million a year for the rest of his life. But he got him one baby step at a time. And so the time is now. And let me tell you what the right thing to do is. The right thing is to get as many people at MPW 2021. That's the right thing. And then you need to be there. We need to be there. All of us need to be there. Now, sadly, I'm teaching that weekend. I booked my weekend teaching in December. So I'm gonna catch as much as I can Friday, then I fly as much as I can Saturday before I teach. And then Sunday I teach starting at 8 a.m. and then I fly. Maybe I'll catch a little bit when I get home. But that's just, you know, that's the way it goes. If I could change the date, I would, but I can't. But the right thing to do is pack the house for MPW 2021. It's free. And then you're going to have world-class speakers. They're putting millions into this event, and they're putting their speaker budget for GoPro, 4 million for speakers. I don't know what 4 million buys for speakers when it's only a 30-hour event. You know, I'd probably want quite a bit for my 4 million. So we're probably going to have some people bringing really good cutting edge stuff that are genuine experts. So then I'm going to say, if you're committed to that, here's the best way to commit. Buy just a slightly uncomfortable level of tickets for GoPro. Not comfortable, slightly uncomfortable. Diane and I bought 562. So we're willing to stretch a little. And so the price of the Eric Worre GoPro ticket is $97 right up until Most Powerful Women. That's our cost. And you get 2 courses. Now, here's what Eric taught us to do. After that, you raise the price, and there's a chance you might not sell all your tickets. And then you raise the price again, and then you raise the price again, and then you raise the price again. And whatever you sell, you kind of hope you break even. Stormy Wellington bought 10,000 tickets. 10,000 tickets. Now she, 20 years ago was an exotic dancer with little to no clothes. And she tells her story. She says, you know what? That's the only way I knew to make money. But look what she's doing now. Over $1 million a month in network marketing. So maybe that gives you a level of courage. If you'd be willing to dance in front of strangers, you ought to be able to share your product, right? And as she would say, you know, looking like a dream. She is always decked out. Any questions, comments, anything from anybody?
Oh, I wanted to say something.
Who's saying something?
Oh, Mike. Hi, how you doing?
Happy
I wanted to
Beasley,
say,
Mike.
I wanted to say consistency is key because it goes into the subconscious and it's all about repetition and being habitual. So if you do something once and then a few days later you don't do it, you don't have the same neural pathways firing and wiring together.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And by the way, Bruce Lipton, who's a master at understanding brain architecture of change, will tell you that that is the way that the vast majority of us are going to do it. There's two other ways, though. You could absolutely fall deeply in love with someone or something, and that level of love will, we could use the term raise your vibration, raise your energy, raise your point of attraction. And you know what? You might want to do something for that newfound love to build a greater life. That's one way. But he also said the flip side, you could get, you know, either embarrassed as heck or get the snot scared out of you, and that changes you. Jim Rohn, he had Girl Scouts knock on his door selling $2 worth of cookies. He was too embarrassed to tell them that he didn't have $2. So he lied to him. He said, sorry, sweethearts, I already bought cookies from my nieces. He didn't even have any nieces. So when he walked away from that door, he says, something's got to change. You know, I am sick and tired of being embarrassed and lying. I need to make something of myself. He adopted a mentor that introduced him to network marketing, and he made many, many, many millions and became a top motivational speaker. Mine, I don't know if you heard my story. When I finally really decided to build Organo, I got an x-ray report that made it look like I had metastatic cancer. And I got that report as I was leaving town. And so I left town for a week thinking, okay, what if I have a short time left? And to add bad fuel to that fire, relatively recently, my best friend had died an untimely death. My second best friend had died an untimely death. My best female friend had died an untimely death. And my sister died an untimely death. So I'm going, crap, I guess it's in my cards. But luckily I didn't have metastatic cancer, but I remember that thought. If I'm going to leave, I better leave something behind to take care of my family. And it wasn't going to be with my clinical practice or my lecture circuit, but Organo's done that. But you're right, Mike. Consistency is probably the path for all of us. We all have it pretty good. We're all doing okay. Good is the enemy of great. Let's get inspired to greatness.
It really seems like a lot of us don't want to change unless we go through the breaking point of suffering. We say, you know what, I'm tired of feeling this emotion, or I'm tired of going through the same day in, day out job. Like when we feel like that breaking point, we're like, you know what, I'm tired of feeling this low emotion. I'd rather, you know, face the fear of what other people think of me than live in fear and be serious my whole life. And that's what it's about, you know?
You're right on it. Thank you for turning your camera on. I love your passion. Who is your personal sponsor? Where are you in our world?
Gabrielle Weber. Gabrielle Weber is my personal sponsor.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Well, you can send me a message. Let me know how many GoPro tickets you want, right? Stretch yourself a little.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for your time and information.
You know what? I appreciate all of you. While we were at that event, you know, Eric made a point. Oh, by the way, John Harimza, when he got his start, he was a maintenance man for like a pizza company. And a friend said, hey, John, I got some water filters I want you to look at. He thought he wanted him to do an install. And he said, okay, fine, I'll be there after work tonight. Well, they had an emergency at the pizza place that took him 2 hours after work. He showed up in greasy overalls, smelling after a 14-hour day, was dog tired, and he only wanted to go home. But he told his friend he would be there. So after he finished, he said, look, I just finished work. Am I too late or do you want me to come? He says, no, come over. And he walked in the room and there were two suits, as he would say. And these two suits had a water filter. And they took scum water from the lake behind them and they ran through it and it became crystal cool drinking water. And he says, you've got to be kidding me. And they said, yeah, do you know how important water is? You know, your brain's mostly water, your body's mostly water. Try this water. He goes, I can't believe that water tastes that good. He goes, it's going to help everybody. I think you should join our business. John joined right there. He had to write a check that he couldn't have them cash until after payday. He bought 4 water filters, took him home, and his wife was beyond pissed. John, we can't pay our bills. What are you doing buying water filters? He started knocking on doors. He knocked on doors for 2 hours. He sold 1 water filter. Guess what? He made $79. That was way more than he was going to make in 2 hours. He said, this is mine. So he and his brother knocked on doors for months on end. And then he heard that there was a training meeting 4 hours away. He went to the training meeting and the guy that was speaking was he said, John, I made $200,000 last year and I didn't knock on a single door. We need to chat. And he took him up to his room and he told him how to invite to watch a video about it and then follow up. And as they say, the rest is history. But he makes a point. He made a commitment. He honored the commitment. It made him rich beyond his wildest dreams. Now, you all can make a commitment, and that commitment can make all of us rich beyond our wildest dreams. But here's the question. Are you willing to make that commitment? And when I made the commitment for those 100 tickets, I was pretty sure I was going to sell all 100 tickets. In fact, I was dedicated to selling them in the first month. You know how many I sold in the first month? Maybe 2. Do you know how many I sold in the final month? More than half. So that means I was less than 40 tickets sold through the final month of promotion. But I had enough follow-ups and my story got better. 78 tickets or whatever was sold, and Diane Solano was one of them. And
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Many people on this call, and I just go back to my time capsule when I first started.
Yep.
And hearing you say I bought 100 tickets, I can't relate to that because I couldn't afford it. I could barely afford my own. So I did, which is why I'm suggesting this to the group. I did the next best thing. I used Dr. Bob's wallet because he paid for it already to get as many people there and just make sure that, I transferred them the money or they invoiced it. The details didn't matter, but I knew Dr. Bob bought 100 tickets and I'm like, I'm going to claim my stake with as many tickets as I can move because events will build your business faster than anything else. That's the biggest hack in this industry, guys. If you want to grow fast, get as many people to events as possible. I learned that from the top earners in the company. And when I realized that I knew what GoPro did for me, I knew for sure that whoever would go would transform. Dr. Paul Charlton and Nancy went to that event. They were born at that event. They broke all the ranks. Andrew Walker broke rank after that. Sachin Patel, like the Brennans, every single person we got to GoPro, the transformation was unbelievable. So this is where, if you're smart, I would right now have a target. That's what I did. Just like you have a target in your business, I want to sign up 2 people this week, 10 people, whatever. I did the same thing for events. I want 40 people there. And that's what I did. I just went crazy, making sure I reach my target. So my question to you is, what's your target for MPW? And what's your target for GoPro? And start selling those tickets now while they've been paid for. Because once they're sold out, prices go up. But it's not you footing it, it's you just doing the work that has to be done anyways without the stress of the credit card company on your back. That's just my suggestion. That's why I always became Dr. Bob's #1 top seller for all his tickets. I always took the majority of his tickets. It was always me, always. But I knew what the return on investment for that promotion meant for my business. Master the promotion key. Google it. That's what I did. Eric Worre, how to promote. And I studied the video. 7 minutes of your time will change your life if you figure that out. Don't be lazy, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, you have 7 minutes to do anything else. Why would you not spend 7 minutes on YouTube for free studying one of the best promoters in the world and then figure out how to do that and just transfer that over to someone else. It was an art that served me in my business and still does till today. So that's just tips from me. Back to you, Dr. Bob.
Well, whoever was going to talk? No? Okay. So by the way, Emily Morrow was at the 2019 GoPro. She packed living rooms all over for the 2020 virtual GoPro. She was in some clubhouse with like 25 team members for GoPro. That was December. Do you know what happened in January? She went diamond. So it works. It absolutely works. That event was the preceding launching point to the Diamond Month. And you know, it's beyond amazing. But all right, that wraps it up. Unless anybody,
I actually wanted to say something.
go for it.
If you think of the target, it kind of reminds you of an archery game, because at first it's like you're starting on the outside, right? And it's like, okay, but then as you try again and again to find the right person who wants your product, eventually it's like bullseye. It's like, okay, I'm being pulled back out of my comfort zone. I'm being stretched. The universe, the cosmos is stretching me. But then when I launch, it's going to be a new paradigm, pretty much.
Mike, what's your last name? Type it in the chat. I want to look you up. I like you.
Oh, it's a Metaphysical Mike.
Okay, beautiful. All right, Metaphysical Mike. All right. Well, then we'll wrap that up. Next week we've got the same. Tomorrow's Ask the Doctor. I'm very busy these days, so I haven't thought of my topic yet. It'll hit me sometime before tomorrow. It'll be health related. I promise you that. And we'll go from there. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Bob.
Thank you, Dr. Bob.
Thank
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Thank
Good
you.
night.